Motor, J Motor, J Motor, J Motor, recognize Heckler House, Heckler House. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now this week there wasn't anything major going on in the news again, except for the same old crap with the China V and everything the government said was all a big lie. Hard science just pretty much debunked everything they said. And now they're trying to backtrack. All these governments are backtracking, apologizing for lying to the public. But just to be on the safe side, you still need your mask and you know the vax, so and the booster shots or whatever. But they lied. Go figure. Anyways, moving on. Let's get down to what we really want to talk about this week. Now, I had some online friends called the Hollywood Horror Museum. They asked me to check out a couple of movies. One of them they insisted that I watch and get back with them on. So there was a request, and I do requests. So before we get started, understand normally I do not do reviews on movies past the year 2000. I just think shit went crazy and Hollywood became Holly weird a little bit after the 2000s. So about the time Obama came into office, crap. So I usually don't do newer movies or just several years back. I usually do older ones unless it's a recent film that everybody's anticipating, practically within the year, this particular year or so. Anyways, so the first one they asked me to check out, but I had not seen it yet, was the new Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. This movie particularly was not Resident Evil. It wasn't. First off, they sprinkled a few names in the movie, like character names and places and stuff, but unfortunately it's like they tried to mesh the first two games together or stories together, and it didn't just quite work. For one, they did several race swapping on characters, like Jill Valentine is now a black girl, I guess, or I'm guessing she's black. I really didn't look it up. But when in the story and in the game, she's a white girl. Two, she's not like really like a badass. I mean, she's can handle her own. She's part of the police force, but in this movie they make her like she's this badass sniper chick, and she's not like that at all. The second character that really irritated me was the Leon character. This guy is supposed to be white and blonde, or sandy blonde. And in this movie, they made him, I don't know if he's Mexican or Arabian or what he is, but yeah, he's not the right race. And 2, they make him out like he's a big pussy. Like in the games or in the original story, Leon's a badass. In this, they make him look like he can't fucking do jack shit. It's pathetic. The next character, Claire, she's not even in it until the sequel. So, like I said, they tried to mesh the first and second games or sequels together. Also, I don't know what the deal is with gingers in Hollywood, or Hollyweird, but they obviously hate gingers because Claire is a dark redhead. So, yeah, in this one, she's got black hair. Go figure. Plus, even though she can hold her own in the game, she's not a badass. In this one, she saves everybody's ass like constantly. Like she's just a super badass chick who's gonna save every guy's ass in this fucking movie. It's just fucking retarded. The only character they actually got right was Chris Redfield. I didn't mind that guy at all. They got it spot on with him. The next bad character is the Wesker character. I thought when I first started watching the movie, I was all like, oh, that must be the Barry character. No, it's Wesker. Wesker is not some huge jock. He's kind of like a jockey character, but he's not a real big dude. In this, he's a big dude, which made no sense, but whatever. And then the last character, Barry, again, I don't know what the deal is with Hollywood or Hollyweird and the gingers, but man, they got rid of Barry, the huge, big, redhead dude that helps Jill Valentine. He's a main character, and they got rid of him. He's not even in the movie, which makes no sense. Now you have minor things, which I don't really nitpick too much on the minor stuff. Like, when they're getting chased into the mansion, it's supposed to be, you know, the dogs, the zombie dogs that chase into the mansion. And they're not walking and creeping into the mansion. They're running into the mansion. You only see the dogs, the zombie dog, like maybe a couple of 30-second shots. It's not very long, which was kind of dumb, but whatever. Anyways, they basically rewrote this entire fucking story. They couldn't even stay true to the source material. And they rewrote pretty much everything that made the story good in the first place. That's why this movie bombed. It did terrible. And for good reason. Because they didn't, like I said, they didn't stick with the story. So, would I recommend this movie? No, absolutely not. Not if you're a Resident Evil fan. You're going to hate it. 2 thumbs down. It's literally a mess. It's terrible, terrible movie. Now they left it off for a sequel. Honestly, if they make a sequel, it wouldn't surprise me. But it's terrible. They went the wrong direction with this. Okay. Let's move on to the next movie that Hollywood Horror Museum requested that I definitely watch and give a review on. And that movie is called Winter's Bone. Now, let me straight up say, I am not absolutely a fan of flat out, straight up dramas, pure drama. I just don't watch that kind of crap. I hate chick flicks. I don't mind romantic comedies, but or a romance movie that has a little bit of like of a sci-fi or fantasy element in it. But straight up pure dramas, I can't stand them. I do not watch them. But they asked me to watch it, so I figured I'd check it out. The second thing is, I am not a fan of Jennifer Lawrence at all. I think she's a terrible actress. I've never liked anything she's been in, ever. So, with that being said, let's get to the nitty gritty. Now, Hollywood Horror Museum knows I am extremely honest, and I'm going to give you the truth and facts, and then I'm going to give you my honest opinion on a movie. So, they may not like everything I have to say, but at least it's honest. Okay, this movie was made in 2010. It only made about $13 million at the box office. Not really well known. Stars Jennifer Lawrence and John Hawkes. Now, when I was watching this movie, I felt like something was off. Something didn't seem right. It was like they're trying to push the drama just a little too hard. Like force it. So I looked up who wrote and directed this movie. I usually don't do that. I could care less most of the time, but I went in and looked it up. And it's a woman director named Deborah Granick, which no one's ever really heard of. Her being based in New York was kind of a red flag for me. But as far as writers go, there's several decent female writers. A known fact, historical fact, maybe you didn't know this, but a lot of your 80s and 90s television shows and even cartoon shows were written by women. The episodes and stuff. So there's some decent female writers out there. Just here lately, it's like they haven't been able to write worth a crap. It's just not females, it's the guys too, writers in general. But there is one fact that is very well known. Here lately, several past years, there have been some women who've been trying to break into the field of being directors. Now, I can't name a female director that's well known at the top of my head. In fact, most people probably can't. It's just known that most female directors are not really good directors. That doesn't mean that there won't be one at some point in time who everybody can name at the top of their head. But for now, it just doesn't work. This woman is known for like 2 movies, and they both were Sundance film movies, so she's not well known. But I understood why the drama felt pushed in this movie once I saw that it was a female director, because they tend to do that. I don't know why, they just do. And that's why they usually don't make really good movies. Now, the story is basically, Jennifer Lawrence, her dad's like this druggie who got busted and is now skipped out on bail. And the bail bondsman comes to her and tells her, hey, if your dad doesn't show up for court, we get to collect the house and the property and yada yada yada, basically everything you own. your family owns. So throughout the movie, she's trying to find her dad and get him to show up to court so they don't lose the farm that they live on. Her mother's sick. She's got a little brother and a little sister, little ones. She's like 17, and she's pretty much running the household while daddy's running around doing his drug dealing and shit. Now, throughout the movie, she runs into a bunch of weird people, a bunch of other druggies and shit. And, she finds out if she can prove that her dad's dead, which she's fairly certain is, they won't take the property. So that's what she does. She gets in touch with these so-called drug dealer, white trash gang, hillbilly gang or whatever, and they give her like the hands of her dead dad because they killed her because he owed them money or some shit. So she takes the dead hands, or the hands, sawed off hands of her dad to the sheriff to prove that he's dead. Whatever. It's kind of crazy. Throughout this whole movie, it was just really dark and morbid. I mean, really dark. I was so depressed watching this movie. It just made me feel depressed. Like, man, this is horrible. This feeling of, you want to commit suicide. That's how the movie made me feel. Anyways, there's several things that this movie got wrong about people that live in the Ozarks. There's a couple that got right, and then most of the rest of it is pure fiction. People in the Ozarks don't live like that or act like that for the most part. Number one, the whole female gang of moms or whatever that beat the shit out of her was just, I about laughed my ass off because I've never seen that. It was ridiculous. I live near the Ozarks and I know several, I guess you would call them hillbillies, and they don't live like that at all. Now, as far as the houses, like the way they displayed the houses, and the yards where they got junk all in the yards, and I actually know people who do live like that. But they don't look all dirty and scraggly. They look clean. They've got nice clothes. They don't look like that. That's bullshit. Now, the way the women dressed in this movie, jeans, floppy t-shirt, blah, that's true. A lot of the women in the Ozark area, they just don't give a flying fuck how they look. They just throw shit on and fucking put their hair in a ponytail. Like, they don't dress like ladies in rural areas, trust me. It's more tomboy dress. But all that drug shit and crap, bullshit. Bullshit. Are there druggies in the Ozarks? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But not like that. Now, there are meth heads and people who smoke a lot of ganja, but they don't act like they do in this movie. That's all bullshit. The whole what they call John Hawk's character, Teardrop. They don't act like that guy or anything like that. That's bullshit. And the girls don't act like that either, at least the majority of them. Now, the one that had the baby, there are some women who are like that, especially with their men. in the Ozark area. But for the most part, most of 90% of that shit is all BS. There are no gangs and drug hillbilly gangs and shit. Fuck off. There's not like that, I guarantee it. Anyways, as far as the acting goes, the acting was okay. Jennifer Lawrence did okay, surprisingly. I didn't hate her acting in this movie, but I thought the story was kind of lame. I didn't care for it because it was based off pure fiction. Someone who lives in a city trying to act like they know what it's like in the Ozarks or the rural area is all BS. I'm surprised I didn't fall asleep during the movie, but I actually was able to watch it all. Like I said, it was okay. I'm just not into dramas. It's not my thing. I personally didn't care for it all that much. Just, pretty much. Would I recommend this movie? Yeah, if you're into pure drama, you might like it. Anybody else who's into other type of stuff, not so much. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible either. It was okay. Okay, moving on to your B-movie reviews. Okay, movie holics. This week is Fantasy Week. We got two older fantasy movies. The first one is called A Knight's Tale. It was done in 2001. It actually did really well at the box office. It made 117 million worldwide, which is pretty decent. Now it stars the late Heath Ledger, which he would have been a huge star if he would have been able to continue on with his life. Rip Heath Ledger, he was a great actor. And the female lead was Shannon Sossamon. I hope I pronounced that right. Sossamon. It's a weird, funky looking name. But anyways, basically, the story is you have a kid who grew up as a squire to a knight who did a bunch of jousting tournaments. The knight dies, and in order to get paid, he takes the knight's place, changes his name, starts winning tournaments, and then he kind of falls in love with this princess. And the princess likes him, but there's another guy who usually wins all the tournaments. He eventually finds out that Heath Ledger's character is not of royal blood, so he gets him chained up, almost put to death. But Prince Edward, the Black Prince, finds out about it and owes him a favor, so he frees him and claims that he does have royal lineage so he can compete as a knight, and he knights him. He goes on to win the, jousting tournament and win the princess, the beautiful woman, blah, blah, blah. End of story. This is a really good movie, honestly. You have several decent actors in this movie. The guy who stars in, who plays Vision in the Avengers, he's in this. You also have the guy, Alien Resident, he's in this. He stars in Alien Resident, or Resident Alien, whatever. It's a pretty good love, romance, fantasy type movie. It's a good flick, almost a Disney quality flick, or what used to be Disney. I definitely recommend this. You won't be disappointed. 2 thumbs up. One of his better movies, honestly. Check it out. You'll like it. The next one is one that some people have never heard of and is one of the most underrated fantasy films of all time. And it's called Krull. And it was done in 1983. I only made about 16 million, which was okay for back then, honestly. Wasn't too bad, too shabby. But it wasn't the greatest either. You can make the box office in. Now, this starred Ken Marshall and Lisette Anthony, which no one really had ever heard of this pair. But it did have Liam Neeson in it and a couple other decent actors as well. Before he became a star, anyway. Basically, the story is you have this evil galactic warlord called the Beast. He comes to Krull, which is the name of the planet. The prince and the princess, they're going to unite their 2 kingdoms by getting married to fight the forces of the Beast, known as Slayers. The Slayers show up and pretty much wipe everyone out and take off with the princess during the wedding ceremony. Now, there's an old man from the mountain that comes down, and he's supposed to be like this wisdom type dude, and he heals the prince, or actually now it's the king, since his dad gets killed at the beginning. Spoiler alert. And then they go on a quest to get back the princess from the Beast in his dark tower. Along the way, they pick up some highwaymen, robbers, thieves, thugs. They join him and help him. They pick up an old wizard who ends up getting killed and being replaced. They pick up another type of wizard who's kind of a goofball. He only half-ass knows how to use magic. He's all the time screwing up. Anyways, they eventually pick up another dude called the Cyclops, who he's like a big fighter. He helps them along the way. They eventually get to the Black Fortress. They take out the Beast with a weapon that is only known to the royal family, called the glaive. It's this star-like weapon with blades on the end of each tip. But they lose the glaive, and then he has to use this. He can use fire, kind of like a blowtorch kind of thing. And they wipe out the Beast, and they escape, and that's the end. But unfortunately, in the movie, they never did a sequel, which they kind of left off for a sequel, because it tells us that there's another story of these two getting together, joining and forming one kingdom, and that they have a son that ends up ruling the galaxy. So they never got around to doing that, which sucks. I really wish they had gone ahead and done a sequel, because this is a really great movie. Definitely check this out if you're into fantasy, action, romance movies. Definitely check this out. 2 thumbs up. One of the all-time best fantasy movies. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you know of any underrated movies or movies that I may never have heard of, or you think I've never seen, please leave your suggestions down in the comments down below, and I will get around to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.